Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Moviesnips. Today we're going to be talking about the monsters from the A Quiet Place movies. These monsters are known as death angels and have always fascinated me, but I still can't get over how unrealistic they are on so many different levels. Before I get further into this, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. So just to get into a little bit of the background on the death angels, also known as angels of death as well as dark angels according to the fandom. They originate on a planet that is very far away from Earth, perhaps millions of light years away in an unknown galaxy. At some point, the creature's planet was destroyed for unknown reasons, but due to their durable nature, they survived on asteroid fragments, which eventually arrived on Earth in the form of a meteor shower. Perhaps their planet exploded and the monsters hitched a ride on the remaining fragments of what was left of their planet. These asteroids crash landed at different locations on the Earth's surface. The first one presumably crashed somewhere in Mexico with the force of a small nuclear bomb. The distance these monsters would have had to travel to reach Earth would have been incredulous. Even the fastest asteroids travel at around 63 times the speed of sound, which is still not even a fraction of the speed of light. So the monster's journey to Earth would have taken billions of years. Furthermore, since space is a vacuum, how would these creatures have survived for so long without air, without water, and without food? According to the laws of biology, all organisms need some method of sustenance. Perhaps the creatures were able to burrow deep into the asteroids and hibernate for eons, but this seems more than a bit over the top. Even if these creatures are biologically immortal, and assuming the monsters found a way to circumvent this incredible distance using some kind of wormhole technology or advanced intergalactic method of travel, how did they get up to the asteroids in the first place? They can't fly, and it doesn't seem like they have any space travel technology or technology of any kind for that matter. Even the film's director, John Krasinski, confirmed that the monsters are basically just vicious animals, without sentience or higher thought capabilities. Just how intelligent they are is unclear, as they mostly seem driven by pure instinct, though the Abbott's whiteboard speculates that they are capable of hunting in packs. They may even be capable of a basic level of communication through clicking noises. The fandom also discusses their planet of origin as being a larger, high-gravity world. Their planet is a world that exists in complete darkness, with no natural sources of light. It is a hellish world, with much harsher conditions than those that exist on Earth. This would explain why these creatures are so fierce and relentless in nature, as well as their complete lack of eyes or visionary organs of any kind. The creatures are slightly taller than the average human, standing at about 6 to 9 feet tall and weighing about 400 pounds, with overall proportions that are lithe and lean. Their body posture vaguely resembles a cross between a gorilla and a flightless bat. All four of their limbs are digitigrade, walking on their knuckles, with their arms noticeably larger than their legs, resulting in them usually running on all four limbs, but capable of rearing up to attack or jump large distances. They seem to be noticeably faster than any of the land animals on Earth. Due to their claws and great strength, they are very adept at climbing on walls. This again doesn't make sense because higher gravity planets wouldn't favor creatures with lean, agile bills, but rather creatures with stockier bills that are lower to the ground and require less energy expenditure for movement. Such creatures would probably be a lot slower too. What's even more puzzling is that the monsters don't consume their victims. They seem to attack and kill anything that makes noise, but they don't seem intelligent enough to kill for sadistic reasons. Rather, it seems that they just instinctively lash out at anything that makes noise. Perhaps due to biological constraints, their bodies can't digest the animals on Earth, and they may be able to go for very long periods of time, perhaps even billions of years, without the need for food, but this seems absurd. They also have long, sharp, pointy teeth, so it would be logical to assume that they're some kind of apex predator. It's also unknown as to how exactly these creatures reproduce. Furthermore, in the second film, we see the meteorite appear in the skies above the baseball game. But the monsters arrive on the surface and start killing people in the Abbott's town, even before the meteorite crashes to the ground, which is another unexplained occurrence as the meteorites impacting the ground are said to be the source of the invasion. Another aspect of these creatures that doesn't make sense is how they're able to filter out passive background noise, such as the sound of waterfalls and other natural phenomena, from active background noise such as humans talking, animal noises, and music. Why do these creatures leave some noise sources alone, yet viciously attack others? They lack eyesight to differentiate between the two, so this too is left unexplained. Taking this a step further, how do they navigate their surroundings without the ability to see? Even if the monsters used echolocation like a bat or a dolphin, they would be able to map their surroundings and track their prey by creating a mental map of the frequencies. However, the creatures cannot see their prey even if they're right on top of the prey. While the monster's use of sound helps them pinpoint a target, this doesn't explain how they're moving around the rest of the time without crashing headfirst into trees, or stumbling off of cliffs, or drowning in large bodies of water, to give a few examples. Another issue that confuses me is that even though the monsters are resistant to small arms fire and even low-yield rockets and missiles, it would seem that the United States military, as well as the military forces of other countries, would have been able to mobilize attack helicopters and jets with powerful enough weapons to get rid of these monsters, or at least mitigate the levels of carnage and destruction that these monsters were wreaking on humanity. A single bullet to their sensitive parts can kill them, so they're definitely not invincible, and one would think that the world's militaries would have been able to figure out a sound and effective strategy to wage war against these creatures using conventional and non-conventional weapons, especially if there are just thousands and not millions of these creatures walking the earth. Various military forces have sonic and ultrasonic weapons at their disposal, and the use of these weapons would allow the humans to severely incapacitate or even kill these monsters. Maybe the monsters don't originate from outer space, but have actually tunneled their way up to the surface of the earth from below ground. But that wouldn't explain the scene from the beginning of the second film when the strange asteroid-like object is spotted in the skies. John Krasinski also confirmed that the monsters are not of this world. Perhaps we'll learn more about the history of the monsters in A Quiet Place Day 1, a third prequel film scheduled to be released in 2024. But what are your thoughts on the monsters from A Quiet Place, and how realistic are they? I'd like to thank you for watching my video today. If you feel I missed anything or would like to add anything to this discussion, please feel free to comment down below. Please also remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and please check out my channel for more sci-fi lore videos.